This is the regular meeting of the Bethany Board of Finance being held on May 14th, 2024 in the Selectmen's Conference Room. Present for the Board of Finance are Martha Azarisi, Katie Erickson, Sally Heiser, and Sharon Huxley, Chair. Lars Demander is excused. John Grabowski is absent. In terms of staff, we have Leslie Bacigalupi, our finance director. Paula Cofrancesco is here. Our first selectman, Lauren Cable, is here as our clerk for the meeting. And in terms of guests, we have present Jamie Sterling. Before we move on to number 2, I need to add 2 items to the agenda. The first one is the tax collector's suspense list. We need to approve that. We'll do that under my portion of the agenda. And also later, we have to set a special meeting to set the mill rate. Usually that is done right after the close of the annual town meeting. And we have to set that date and time. Okay, so the next thing on our agenda is the minutes of the April 9th meeting. And before we discuss it, do I have a motion to approve? Present were Huxley, Azarisi, Heiser, Grabowski, and Erickson. So we have a quorum here.
I'll move that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Katie. Good. Thank you. So a second from Sally. Comments or questions? Is this the set you had a question?
Yes, I do actually have a question. So I agree that I did arrive late on that day, with apologies, of course. However, I'm just a little confused in the minutes. I participated and voted in certain items, for example, the budget, A3.
Yes.
And then I don't recall being part of section 4 grants, and I'm not included on that vote. And then it says I arrived. So the timing is just it's just a little confusing to me there.
I think that what we did was reorganize some of the items that night. Does that sound right? Okay, but then what happened? Did you put them back in the right order?
So you paused and then moved on and went back.
Back.
So you
Okay.
like paused from A, whatever, and then moved on and then came back.
All right. So
And the minutes reflect the order of the agenda.
Right.
That's what I actually
Okay.
thought. I do recall seeing that we reorganized something. It's just a little confusing because I voted for things and then I arrived. And then I didn't vote on things.
yes, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Did you see yourself noted as having voted for something you were not here for?
No. So as long as we're comfortable with this weird
Well,
flow, I think it's okay.
it worked that night.
Yeah.
It was very helpful, actually. All right,
So the notes that it says I voted for, I agree with them.
okay. Anything else? All right, then all in favor? Aye. Okay, let me get past that to the next. That was a long meeting. Those were a lot of minutes. All right. So the next thing is the finance director's report, and Leslie.
All right, the numbers are included, which gives you the departmental breakout and the overall revenue and expense where we are to date. I wish right now it's showing a net income of almost $5 million, and I wish that would be accurate because it's all based off of the budget, not year to date. So the question last month, you asked me how much of that, like $6 million, are we going to spend before the end of the year? I wish I had a real good idea for you, but unfortunately, I had very few department heads get back to me as to how much money they were going to spend yet this year. What I can tell you, of those departments that responded,
Mhm.
I anticipate our revenue being $100,000 over budget,
Favorable?
favorable.
Yep.
Mhm.
Favorable. And I expect the expenses of the few departments that responded to be under by about 100,000, which would be a $200,000 favorable variance off the budget. Okay, the large items on where the large dollar amounts are going to be spent yet of that, like 5 million. If you look on the last page, which would be like 3 pages from the end of the packet. The regional high school, yes, that 1,045,000 will. All but 30,000 of that will be spent.
Mhm.
As far as the Bethany Board of Ed, I have been informed that right now they anticipate about a $30,000 surplus that they would not be asking for. So that 70,000 was not factored into my 200, so. But I do not know where all the other departments lie at the moment.
It's interesting. Someone on the Bethany Board of Education made an allusion, I don't remember, I thought it was last week, that they had some significant capital issues coming up that were unanticipated. So why would they give us the money back?
They do have significant capital items that need to be addressed. But I spoke with Brandy, and the finance committee at the Bethany Board of Ed is allowing them to transfer unused budget lines to capital. So part of this $2 million that's still left, they're going to
Okay.
transfer some of their operating budget from this year to cover some of those capital expenses. And I spoke with Brandy, and she said she's still anticipating approximately $30,000 to come back to the town this year that they will not ask for.
They're gonna cover it all with their
That's what she said.
surplus. Okay, we should make note of that for next year. Here, the next time they come around, I don't know, okay,
Yeah, I do not know,
okay.
but I did ask because those are 2 large areas of spend between now and the end of the year, so.
Okay.
Wanted to make sure of that.
Transfers.
Transfers. There is. I have a request to transfer $2,744.70 from contingency to 3 line items that are over budget, that will have the department over budget at the end of the fiscal year. One is for Board of Assessment Appeals for the payroll because of all the time they spent with revaluation hearings. A fire marshal, his communication line will be over, as will his software support line. He had explained during budget season that he was required to get new software for interfacing with the fire department. And he runs with an iPad versus a cell phone. And we did not factor in the higher cost for the iPad in place of the cell phone when we set the budget. So that's why I'm looking for the $2,700 to move.
Is this last page the one with the
Yep,
transfers?
the last page is the one with the transfers.
Okay. All right, so the first one is to transfer 2744
Mhm.
from contingency to the Board of Assessment Appeals, the FM Communications and Software Support. Do I have a motion? That effect? Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second. Discussion, anyone? Okay, hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Okay, so the ones below are ones that, have they changed, or is this just letting us know they're going to be processed, or they have been?
The ones below have been processed. They are already through the
Oh,
system,
okay.
but I just kept it there so that you know what the running total is that has moved. And there was an expense that I chose to take directly out of contingency, which came up after this report was prepared. It was $9,800 and some odd dollars. I think it was 9,000, I think it was 9801.74, but I could be wrong on the last
Mhm.
3 digits.
But, and it was
It was because of unallowable expenses that were claimed in the May 2018 tornado. We put in for an additional $13,000 of expenses were kicked out on the audit, which means we owe back 75% of that, which is the $9,800. And that is not something that we would have budgeted for anywhere.
Mhm.
We
right.
received all that money like in 2019. That's when it hit the general fund, if there was anything. So
Okay, so
that
that's
makes
to
the,
cash, right? Or to FEMA?
yeah,
Okay.
it has to go back to the state, which,
Oh, the state.
yeah, we have to send it back to the state. And they will get it to its respective place, which would bring the total spend up to like $52,000 out of the contingency fund.
Okay,
It was 9,801.94. Darn.
okay.
So I'm confused. We previously approved these items here for the
Yes.
town audit harvest festival.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes, we did.
I think that those dates are the meetings where we did
Yes.
the meeting dates.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, you know what,
Because
that
today-
5/14, it didn't
Mm.
carry through the right date. It was our last meeting.
That was.
It would have been the April 9th meeting. That
right.
would have been, it should be part of the minutes from April 9. Let's just make sure that it's in there.
We did do those things.
We did, they were approved, but Katie did pick up
Okay,
an issue,
Typo on the date.
a typo on the spreadsheet.
okay. Um,
Just to make sure.
oh, those are the RFPs. Where were the transfers?
The general fund capital, 2A, it's 3A2, with the bottom of the first page
First,
and carried to the second one. Yes, yeah. They were approved at the April 9th, so I will update the spreadsheet to reflect that, Katie. Good catch.
because we couldn't exactly.
No,
That's
John
fine.
made the motion last month to approve them.
Okay. Okay.
So this total of 43, it does not include the 9,800.
It does not include the 9,800.
What was the balance of the contingency account?
The contingency started at 150.
Okay, okay,
Okay,
all right. For some reason, I thought we had 50 for. And I thought we overspent the contingency somehow.
no, we
Yeah.
have not
150.
overspent the contingency. But I do not know where else it may be needed between now and the end of the year, because I do believe the senior center will need funds before the end of the year. Because the bus is constantly at De Gennaro's for repair work.
Okay, does anyone have questions about the informational items? They're just things that are in progress. There were 3 on the agenda.
Mm.
Munis, recycle and auditor services.
I'm sorry, remind me the munis item?
We're switching the software.
Yeah.
The accounting software.
Okay, then we'll move on to grants.
So sorry about the recyclable, I know, the plan is to wait for discussion on the town meeting and
We don't,
hopefully it gets approved in the budget. Is that
well,
Yeah.
we,
presented? Okay.
we made a change, based on the town, well, we didn't change that one, but we changed other things based on the town meeting. And now we're waiting to see, they can cut things, they can't add things.
We have an informational meeting. Did you get the first one?
We did.
Okay. Some people just got it yesterday.
I got it yesterday.
I went to the post office last week, so I don't know what the post office did, but I'm glad you're at least getting it.
I
So,
barely hear you. Is the acoustics in here?
sorry, I'll talk louder.
Yeah, that was weird. No, I do have a.
And then when's the
LG.
RFP for the auditor service due?
The RFP was due back in April.
Oh,
I had 0 responses,
Mm.
but I have reached out to 6 different accounting firms. And I have a hard copy proposal from 1, and I'm waiting for 2 more. So as soon as I have them, we have something to work from to move forward.
Okay, great.
ARPA, okay. Oddly enough, when we talk about the ARPA money that's available, we've always based everything off of the 1.6 million that we received. Well, that money has been sitting in an interest-bearing account since we received it, which has accumulated almost $20,000 in interest since we had that money, and we've been spending the money out of that account. Yeah, so the amount of interest earnings is decreasing because there's less money available, but we do have that money available to spend as well. So we can spend above and beyond the original ARPA allocation by the interest. That money must also be spent in the same spirit that the original 1.6 million was awarded to us on.
And the time frame is the same also?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
Encumbered by the end of this year and spent by 26, right? 2026.
Okay. Well, it's nice to know that we have something to add to the bottom
Yes.
of that.
So it was, so I'm pretty
Isn't it at the
sure
back?
the page in the packet that shows ARPA, at the top, it now shows interest earnings, so the total available went from 1,641 to 1,661. So it's just a shade under $20,000 in interest that it has earned.
Okay. And this 17,000 is.
What is available
Available.
that needs a project?
Okay. Well, that's nice. And that includes the land trust.
Yes, that
The motion.
includes everything that was voted on in March and April with the adjusted allocations.
Okay.
Where's the available on the spreadsheet? I'm sorry, it took me a little second.
It's towards the bottom that says TBD.
The available?
Yep.
And then where's the 20?
The interest is 19,797 at the top.
It's up to the top.
Okay. So almost 40. What's our plan to?
No, that 17 at the bottom has the interest factored into it.
Oh, so we've already started using some of the,
Mhm.
understood. Oh, I wasn't readily understood to me.
Steve,
Is there a plan to solicit proposals, or do you have any sort of strategic thoughts on the grant money?
There have been a few small projects that have come to my attention, but no formal proposals. So until we have a formal proposal, we're just waiting.
But we can solicit.
We
them
can solicit.
Again through the bulletin.
Yes, we
did
can.
a couple of months ago in the
Yes,
bulletin.
we
I
can,
know it
but
again, yeah.
we-
Yes, we can solicit again.
Since we have 17,000 left.
Yes.
Anything else on that one, on the ARPA? All right, the steep 24, as opposed to 23.
Well,
Or
technically,
25, yeah.
technically, this is steep 23. The last one
Right.
was steep 22 because of when
Okay.
it's awarded versus when it's paid out.
Okay,
But, I mean, we're pretty much basically what is in print. I mean, the only real, the only change since last month was that we did, submit an application through Senator Murphy's office, or was it Blumenthal's office? I don't remember. For a FEMA, for the lodge, for a FEMA shelter at the lodge. I can't remember. I honestly can't, I think it was Murphy.
Yeah.
And we had submitted an application through Rosa Deloro's office for the Round Hill Road project. So we're in a wait and see. If we will be awarded and what category they will, if they're awarded, what agency they will go through as to whether or not they are 100%, 80%, 70%. I mean, I know that, Senator Murphy's office wanted us to change the agents. They did not want us to submit the application as FEMA. They wanted us to send it through a different agency, and we declined because it would have taken it from a 75% match to a 55% match, and we said, no. We'll gamble at the 75 for it not to be selected, as opposed to having to pay for half of the project.
wasn't part of it because they thought it wasn't big enough?
Yes,
to
they
get
thought,
anyone's
Oh,
attention.
they thought it wasn't large enough to go through on this for, as a FEMA project at a 75% reimbursement.
Mm.
And it was like a $1.3 million project. And they said it wasn't big enough. To us, that's large.
Yeah.
To them, it seemed quite small.
Yeah.
So,
And we don't want to have to pay for half of it.
no,
Correct.
which is why we said, no, we'll take our chances.
Yeah, okay. Cabrera, Cabrera? Mm. Anything? Nothing?
No,
Okay. Well,
I mean, unless someone has a specific
Yeah,
question on the others, I mean,
mhm.
I hit the keys that are relevant right now.
Mhm.
I just have one informational piece for the board. I will not be in the office the last week of May, and I will be working remotely for at least a week, maybe as many as 3 weeks in June. I need to have my hip replaced. That will be done right after Memorial Day, so it's my right hip. And I have been informed that it could take up to 4 weeks before I'm allowed to drive.
Well, better your right hip than your wrong one.
There it is.
I like that a lot. And so, I mean, like I said, I will be working remotely. So, and my husband works from home and he has volunteered to bring me down a few days a week if I really want to get out of the house. Once I'm able, once I can get around
Kill
that.
each other.
So, but no, I mean, I will still be monitoring everything.
Mhm. Yeah, it's hard for two people to work in the same.
Different rooms, different floors.
Same Wi-Fi.
Different hours.
Sharing the bandwidth can be an issue.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, anyway. All right, so,
Off to you.
okay, so, the Amity update, the referendum results are down below. The significantly reduced, the Board of Education reduced their, what the Finance Committee approved significantly. And so, it was approved in all 3 towns. That was, the grant committee, we have talked about the need for a grant committee, for a committee to do. There could be room for more than one grant committee or committees with more than one purpose, but we have a limited number of people who want to work on different things. This is, I would say Leslie and I, but mostly when it comes to who I thought ought to be, might want to be on it. I have to admit, it's going to do. I'm counting on my fingers until I said, wait a minute, that's enough people for now. We need to agree on what the mission ought to be. My suggestion was, and this could be 2 different committees, but probably not. First, to identify potential needs, desirable projects for the community and for everywhere, instead of, most of the time when we say, well, there's more ARPA money, what needs doing? If we're in this building, we're thinking what needs doing around here, or within essentially our purview. But this would be hopefully to get more people involved in brainstorming. And the second part of it is also to have people help us identify potential sources of grants, because that needs work too. People looking things up and who are willing to wade through the pages and pages and pages. The first time I looked at one of the ARPA ones, it was 55 pages just on, it wasn't even on completing any of the paperwork. It was just on what was eligible, 55 pages. The whole thing. Okay, I mean, I'm a paperwork weenie, but really? And besides, there were, like 10 different things associated with the grants. And the more grants we look at and see, having someone willing to help filter them would be good. I had suggested, and this is just me brainstorming, land use, because many things use land use, and there are multiple agencies here that are looking at that. The Economic Development Commission, because they're just the poor stepchildren of almost getting anything done, because they're neither fish nor fowl, and anything they try to do needs everybody else to be part of it. So they need people to help. Conservation, because I think, that's, I would include Land Trust, Conservation Commission, and any other related type organizations. Get social services, because I think we've kind of identified that we're really knocking it out of the park with senior services, but there are other social services that we basically are not so much, that could use, if we could find grant funds to help with some things, it'd be awesome. Let's see, Public Works, just like land use and the town administration, somebody needs to tell us what can actually be done and where it can be done or what can't be done. Park and Rec, because they always have a lot of really interesting ideas that we ought to be more aware of. Finance, we need somebody on that, and public representation, not from any particular perspective, but just we need we need to try to gather public input. We probably want to keep this committee, we know we need to have it. We want to keep it small enough that it can work, but large enough that what it's doing, excuse me, is reaching out to everybody. So suggestions would have been better if everybody got this first, but
It seems like a lot, but when I think about each group, it's like, okay, yeah, I can see why they might have a contribution to that committee, so it made no sense to me.
mhm.
Yeah.
That public representation, who should we consider asking?
Do you advertise for it?
What?
And give criteria in the, are you like, when you say public, are you talking about residents?
Yes,
Could you put something together like we've done for other committees and things? You put something in the bulletin saying we're looking for,
yeah,
and then.
I think so. I think
Mhm.
a start might be first identifying a contact in each of these that are listed
Mhm.
and asking them, once we have a contact, for them to suggest maybe 3 or 4 contacts from the general community that, you know, people who would have a broad view of what's, especially what we may not see from the regulatory end of things. Right. Yes.
I don't know, what about each of the political parties asking them to offer, what,
Do you think that's, I mean,
I have no
I-
idea, I really don't know, I'm just
I
trying.
don't know, I don't know what to do, but I know we have to do it, and we've been talking about doing it for a really long time.
We have
And
to do it.
we
has
have
be
to
done.
do it.
Yeah.
So this is not on the agenda of the town meeting. This might be something to put in the bulletin, but maybe, how about if I reach out to each of these organizations, quasi-organizational units, and then we see what they might suggest. How does that sound? Because that gets us moving. I want to
Yeah.
get us moving instead of waiting for, you know, something to be in the bulletin and nobody to
Can
call.
it be brought up at the town meeting or no, because it's not on the agenda?
Well, it can't be acted on.
Huh?
It can't be acted on.
No, but you could just kind of say, hey, this is what we're trying to do, we're looking for people who would be interested, maybe have a background or knowledge of
Mhm.
grant,
Well,
you
that's
know,
next.
thing, and at least you put it out there and more information will be coming in the next bulletin. And that way you've given people some,
I mean,
you
the
know-
bulletin will go out probably after the town meeting sometime.
yeah, so I mean, if you brought it up, then
Potentially,
people would kind of have in their head, you know, maybe thinking about some people, and then when it's in the bulletin,
Okay.
it will explain it maybe further or more in depth
Okay.
than people,
Okay.
because,
Eventually this should become something with a life of its own, beyond us, but
Right.
how about making me we have to identify a contact person, me a contact person, they could email me, and I will reach out to all of these identified.
Yeah,
units.
and are you anticipating, like, who's gonna be the one to lead this and to like,
I think that that's something the group should decide on its own.
okay.
I think that if we tell them, this is information and input that we need, because we can't go looking for things unless you tell us, you know, otherwise we're just gonna keep seeing, you know, what's right in front of our faces and saying, gee, maybe we can get a grant for that, and that works, but, you know, I don't know, I'd rather see it end up being a self-governing kind of thing, but that.
And is there
Is
sort
that-
of any strategic direction from leadership, and would that be from Paula? as.
I would like to see
That's
the
what
group figure that out
Mhm.
on its own, because what I see is our weakness is that we don't see what
100%.
what other people see.
Totally, totally.
and
Yeah, we just look
therefore-
at what does Public Works want to build, right?
Yeah, right.
And like, what can we
Exactly.
get? What do you need? I don't know, we could fix up this building. Let's try to find a way to make community space so we can get sprinklers, right? Like,
I think it's important to kind of keep Leslie and Jen, who actually files all of the paperwork, in the conversation as well, because she pretty much handles filing everything and
Mhm.
following up and, you know, really strategically handles all the
Okay.
paperwork and. you know,
Well,
Leslie
that,
too,
I
so.
think from the administration component, but I don't know, I'd kind of like to see what this group could decide on its own
Mhm.
within reason, because it's not like we're talking about things that we can fund. On the other hand, if really good ideas come up and they are things that we can fund, then it would also be good for us to be on board. But I'm thinking like Park and Rec would have a really great idea, but it's something that land use might say, yeah, but you can't do that there. Or whatever, or economic development could have a really neat.
I think one of the key factors,
Ideas.
that the problems that we have found with a lot of the grants that we get is that they want things that are shovel ready. So I think one of the key components of the committee might be to look at projects that we can have in a draw, so to speak. And then if we, all of a sudden, a grant comes up, like with the one from Rosa DeLauro's office, that came up, we had basically less than 3 days to turn it around. Unfortunately, we had that project ready to go.
Mhm.
And then they gave us like 24 hours to get letters of support for that same, so that was a little bit of a scramble, but we at least had that project all ready to go. And that's, with a lot of these grants that come by us, they're looking for something, you know, what do you
In
got?
place already.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
exactly.
so we need to have
Exactly.
ideas.
Mhm.
We.
So this is like a brainstorming and,
Yes.
you know. Not just, because we're looking for people to find the grants too,
Yeah.
right?
It
So.
would be nice to have them help find the grants.
Mhm.
Yes.
And we do have consultants with, the COG that have helped us, with a lot of questions and direction too, so,
Well,
they've been really helpful.
The thing is, this group might decide that we want this part of it, but we don't want that part of it. And then it's like, okay, we'll have to figure out who should do that part of it. I only have a concept in my head, no, nothing else. Okay, so I will contact the boards and commissions and you will just make mention of it at the town meeting, because I'm not necessarily participating in
It's up to you.
anything other
We can
than,
work on how we
the
want to
budget
present it at the
thing,
town meeting.
okay.
I mean, we could do it at the very end, just as a, as we
As
get,
an
as we get
FYI.
after,
Or
yeah,
we
we get
could
through all the
even
business.
put.
I would not do it at the end, because everyone's dying to get out of the
Yes.
building at the end.
Hopefully
This
we'll
is
be
true,
efficient
including
in our
us.
Mhm.
business and,
Um,
so.
Okay, so, all right, so maybe we can
Coming up.
figure out what we want to put in the bulletin and type that up and post it on the wall. And,
Yeah, have a
I mean,
flyer that
we
they
could-
can
we
pick
could
up.
also hand out a flyer
Yeah.
when people walk
Well,
in.
okay, I was thinking post it on the wall
Good
and
idea.
fewer pieces of paper, but
Well, it could be a
Maybe there
short
could
thing,
be
it could
like
be
a
a half
little
a
handout,
page,
a flyer that kind of summarizes that people can take.
yeah, I
Yeah.
know.
just a little
It's-
FYI, check the
only a week,
bulletin
you know,
for,
guys.
we're looking for, we can give them an intro. We don't want to give too much away, but then we put something in the bulletin so that their interest is piqued, and then they have to check out the bulletin to
Okay,
get all the other details.
yep,
Okay.
okay. And then, I think the last thing that I have other than the special meeting is that tomorrow night there's an informational meeting about how the single stream recycling would work. And that's in this building at 7.
So who's gonna be here?
Jen is going to be here and I'm going to be here.
JR Bree is going to be
JR
here from
will be here.
RWS.
Okay.
He just texted
Okay.
me, isn't it?
But it's primarily focused on how it would work. It's
So
not,
an educational component of what's recyclable and what's not?
Yes,
Mhm.
oh,
Yeah, okay.
absolutely.
Okay,
She did this amazing little flyer.
cool.
So it's like what goes into the single stream, what goes into the trash, what you can still bring to the recycling center. Did you make?
You could be the first on the block. to have
Awesome,
them.
you're awesome.
You'd be the
And,
first on the block to have
and then what your other options are. She even checked to make sure that the web links
yeah.
actually all work. Because a lot of them don't. And so that's to give people resources. And then the next thing, last thing that I have is that what?
She said it.
I have two? Oh, the suspense list, right, I forgot about this. First, yeah, the suspense list is a list that's forwarded to the Board of Finance. We approve it and then I sign it. And what we're doing is giving them permission to put some not collectible taxes on what's called the suspense list, where they no longer try to collect them. On the other hand, if the property or item changes hands, the bill becomes active again. Okay, and did you make the list for everybody or?
No, I did not make a copy of the list for everyone.
Yeah, we
How much is it?
total,
$5,885.06.
yeah, we generally, we tried, we don't put it in,
Really good, right?
yeah, we don't put it in the minutes and things because we don't think it's really
I totally agree,
appropriate to
yeah.
out people who haven't paid their taxes.
I'm not on there,
No, no one in this room is on there.
right? I'd hope for a phone call before
Yes, all right, so I need a motion to approve the suspending the list as recommended by the tax collector.
I'll move that we approve the
The
tax
list
suspension list as
presented
presented by
the
the
tax
tax
collector.
collector.
a second.
Okay.
I don't have to put not to exceed $6,000.
No. Okay, questions? Okay, Martha, this is the first time you've ever seen this. Does this make sense to you?
Yeah, it does.
Okay,
Mhm.
all right.
So if they want to sell it, guess what?
Yeah, real estate taxes do come back to bite you.
That's right. I
Um,
understand.
Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
So that's taken care of. And then there's the thing about the special meeting. We need to hold a special meeting. We usually call it for right after, immediately after the town meeting. And then we kind of hope we can get everybody else out of there, but everybody always wants to talk to us. So that we can do this, we have to adopt the mill rate as soon as possible so that the tax collector can
Send out the bills.
get that ready. I am just asking you if you would possibly want to have that meeting the next day.
I
Just,
won't be here.
oh, that's what you won't be, just in case it's, okay, then we can't do that because Katie will be away and John will be away and now Martha will be away. So we
I'm
can't do
back,
that.
I am here on the Tuesday. It's just
Oh,
I'm returning
Monday
home
night.
on the Monday.
oh, that Monday. I thought you were coming back.
No, it's just a long weekend. I'm coming back on the Monday. I mean, I'm
You want to
checking,
have a life, gee.
Going anyplace good?
not really. I'm going to a graduation.
Probably better than where I'm going.
Yeah. Sounds like you're going to the town meeting.
Well, I am, but then I'm going to Oklahoma City.
Okay,
Okay.
I was there when I was 9.
okay, so the thing is that the agenda for that meeting is extremely long. And it is not all our stuff like it usually is.
Can't do
We,
it before the meeting, too bad. huh?
Yeah, no. We have to have an adopted
We can approve
budget.
multiple bill rates. If everything passes, it's gonna be this. If this goes, you know.
We
Too
can't
many
do that.
contingencies.
No, we have a statutory requirement for how we figure out the mill rate. and, Anybody interested in doing it on Tuesday instead of Monday night?
Well, you can't do that, you said, right?
No, okay.
So you have to.
Oh, but Katie
How
will be.
I will,
long
yeah, it's
do
just
you
a
think
trade.
The
yeah.
meeting's gonna go.
I would not even want to guess. It's 22 items,
25.
25.
How
25
long
or
do you
so.
think it's gonna take to approve the mill rate?
Oh, our meeting.
Yeah,
Oh, our meeting. It will
4 minutes.
depend on whether there have been any changes to the budget, because then we're going to have to
recalculate.
recalculate.
It's a 2-minute meeting if the
Right.
budget passes as presented.
Right,
Because we already know what the mill rate would be.
you're
I
not
would-
at the meeting?
No.
She'll be missing that. John and Katie are both traveling that night. But Lars said he's definitely,
I mean,
I would
already
have it, I
there.
would have it Monday. you
We're
know, just
already
as-
there.
okay,
None of us live like an hour away.
okay, all
I
right.
will- I will
We
post
may
it.
be really cranky by the time it's over.
We'll just have to coordinate you off and make sure people are away
Yeah.
from you.
And where is this meeting?
It's gonna be at the school,
Oh, at the school.
Oh,
again.
it's gonna be at the school too, so that's,
because this isn't.
So
ready
people
yet.
will leave. The janitors will kick them out. We'll tell them to.
I think the janitors will probably have.
The
gone home.
time that I will
Oh.
put will say immediately following the town meeting, because we
That's
don't know what that end
Mhm.
time will be,
Right.
so it
Right.
just
Mhm.
says
Okay, we do.
immediately following,
Yeah.
following the town meeting.
All
I
right,
just think it makes sense to do it that night then,
well, it does.
you
It
know,
just-
because we're already there anyway.
It would be easier if we were here, but we're not going to be here.
Unless you wanna come down here as the board.
No, we're not gonna open up another,
Okay,
no,
I just,
but if we have to do calculations, we're,
There's enough nooks and crannies that if
Hmm.
people are hanging
Yeah.
around, we can find a place.
yeah, you'll
I
find
will
us in
have
one
to-
of the bathrooms, right?
I will have
look at that
my,
state for a room.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I will have my laptop.
Yeah.
And it has all the spreadsheets and it has the
Mhm.
calculation page on it, so.
Okay,
But do you have the internet password? And can you get any kind of reception? That's the question.
Well,
You're right.
hopefully you have the internet password.
Not
It doesn't
anymore.
work. My phone doesn't even work in that building.
Wow.
oh,
Yeah, mine.
Hey.
Here either.
that
Well,
would
it-
be something to run by them.
Well, I
between
won't
now
need
and then.
internet.
She's got it on.
I,
the
it's all
Right.
on.
Oh, no,
That's right. you'll
if
be
there
okay.
are any changes, they have to be made in the detail lines.
Correct, but I will. It's a laptop that's gonna be, that's just hardwired to the screen, that's just
But I
set
thought
to the
that,
screen. I don't need, I shouldn't need Wi-Fi.
I thought the detail ones were on the OneDrive.
No, I have them all on a flash drive.
Okay.
I have them all on a flash drive.
It should be,
That helps.
that should be all right.
Mm.
All right, so motion,
I'll move that we hold the mill rate meeting,
special meeting.
special meeting
To set the. mill rate.
immediately following the annual town meeting.
Okay.
On May 20th, 2024.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I'm done now.
Okay, well, mine is basically, everything is in a holding pattern. At some point, hopefully in the next couple of months, I'm gonna actually be able to say that something is done with the Simpson property, with the solar farm property, with the Russell property. I just feel like all I'm doing is holding. pattern.
And just so people know, because I found this very interesting. Deep is what's holding up the Simpson property because something very old
With the Carrington property had to be
that
resolved.
predates
So,
Paula ever
Yeah.
being here.
so we just found this all out to try to bring closure to things. So as long as we can get the Carrington thing resolved, then something for the Simpson property is actually at the AG's office for approval. So once all of those pieces sort of come
But
together.
I am
we
just sort of pointing that out because Deep holds up grant proposals
Yeah, so like I said, my,
because of other things.
well, and we didn't find out about the Carrington Preserve until we
Yeah,
were
we
trying to
just-
finish the Simpson piece, so.
Right.
We are doing our best to, hopefully in the next couple of months, just say it's done.
Yep.
Can I ask you a question about these properties, these parcels? I mean, do they have any special instruction in like the deed, for example,
Well,
or?
the Simpson property was 2 grants from.
Audubon. and
Audubon,
Deep.
Audubon and Deep, actually, which this all started before me, so I'm still. You know, in a small learning curve with it now, but. The land trust was the group that applied for these grants. But the town has to finish these pieces in order for it to clear. And the property was actually listed twice in the meantime. So we've had to kind of,
So
They would be
lem-
open space.
yeah.
They're
Okay,
That's what it
open
is.
space.
open space. So I was just thinking, is there something that the grant committee could think about with putting on these parcels? Are they owned by the town? Like,
They're both town. They're going to
town-owned
be town,
property,
yeah. But,
with just basically
The land
forested?
trust is gonna,
Yeah.
yeah.
Deep has an interesting thing in terms of land use. Have any of you ever been in front of P and Z or wetlands?
No, but I've been in front of Deep like 3
Okay,
times.
yeah, they
5
don't
times.
have a guaranteed time period where they have to act on something.
Hmm.
Which is very interesting because the other land use agents, the local ones do. They have to act even if Deep is holding on to something major. And so, anyway,
I guess I would like to propose that these parcels be, allowed for consideration for public use for the grant committee.
Well,
Oh.
that's the land trust has applied for those grants, and we're just finishing they're not technically going to be,
They're trails.
yeah,
they're
So
going
that's-
trails.
yeah.
They're just waiting for Deep.
But maybe something else could be put on them,
Oh,
like maybe more could happen to the parcel once we own them.
already the Carrington one is already in use.
Mhm.
The trails are in use.
They're all trails.
And,
No, I understand.
Yeah.
I'm-
Like, what
I'm
do you-
I
thinking-
don't think it can go, what you're thinking about, I don't think it can be developed a different way. I think
No.
that's the purpose of this was for open space.
Mhm.
That's why they went for these these 2 grants with Audubon and Deep. We're just trying to bring closure to it for them.
I'm saying a nature center or a campground or a bench area with stretching workout equipment or like a rock garden or I don't know, but like I'm just
That
thinking
might be a
that.
conversation with the land trust.
Correct, but I understand where I understand where Katie's going, so
doesn't
those are
have to
good,
be
those are
like-
good, those are good examples. Or enhanced trails, if they aren't established foot trails, help them
Okay.
build them, you know?
Okay, I mean, that's
know-
not at all what I was thinking.
Right, but
Current use.
you know, keeping it in the nature of the open space, nature type things, what?
well,
Collaboration, which is why Sharon was suggesting
Yeah.
land use or conservation to be part of the discussion on it.
I think it would all go back to everything else that had the grant, whatever was in the grant proposal.
Mhm.
And if it wasn't in the grant proposal, we probably wouldn't be able to do whatever it is. I know that trail systems were intended for both parcels. So,
And well, we were on me actually, and then we kind of,
Sorry.
put this, that's okay. Everybody knows the parade, Memorial Day Parade is the 27th. The Bethany Carnival, we're gonna have a busy week that week in town, because we have the Memorial Day Parade on the 27th, and then the Bethany Carnival is that Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We believe the firemen will be having their parade on that Friday, the 31st, and there will be fireworks again on Saturday, the 1st.
Wait, when's
At
the
the carnival.
carnival?
Carnival is the Thursday,
30.
Friday, and Saturday at the 30th, 31st, and the 1st.
When the school is having their play.
Oh, okay. Which school?
I know, I'm like, what?
They changed the date.
Okay.
The
Well,
elementary
the school is
so they
having
didn't
their,
know that the kids were going to be high on sugar all weekend.
Not only that, it's probably 80% of the dance studios are having their recital that weekend as well.
Yeah.
well, I've had two granddaughters have it last weekend, and I have two having it on the,
Mhm.
so we're good, I'm good. But another thing is, the school is doing their spring fling on that Friday, the 25th. I believe.
The 24th is spring fling.
24th, sorry.
Again, same as the carnival, right?
No,
No.
Carnival's the following week.
Okay.
The spring fling is the Friday of Memorial Day weekend. So, and I think this Friday they have, Bossy, so
Field day, they
they're doing all their end of the year activities. Amity's graduation is June 5th. And then the middle school and the, community school will be having theirs on the 6th and 7th, I think it is.
Kindergarten's the 5th.
There you go. The Board of Selectmen last week,
No, the 7th. 7th.
approved acceptance of the gift of the property at 829 Litchfield Turnpike. We have, Town Council Ben has reached out to the, butters. People at 841, will be happy to take 0.2 of that gift to give them a proper setback, because right now they have sheds and things on their property line. So taking 0.2, would give them conforming setback on that piece of property. The point, let me do my math, hold on, thank you. The 0.7 that's left, we were able to get a hold of the daughter of the owner of that property. And she was gonna be seeing her mother this past weekend. So we're hoping to follow up with her, because that would actually, if they take that 0.7, they currently, that little shed shack that's on the other piece of property is 0.8. So if we combine them, they will have a conforming lot of 1.5.
Which lot is this? Where?
This is 829 is the gift that was accepted by the Board of Selectmen. There's a woman who has retired to Arizona and wanted to gift the 0.8, 0.9, sorry, we got too many points going. The 0.9 to the town. She didn't want the property anymore. Most of her family has either passed or not interested in it, and so I had an 824 review done by the Planning and Zoning Commission. There is no tax appropriation or ramifications here. It's just a gift to us, and we have done our due diligence to reach out so that we will only have it for a short period of time and be able to hopefully split it to the abutters, and then they will take it, and then we will have no other responsibility for it after that. So.
What parcel is this? 829 what?
Litchfield.
Litchfield Turnpike, kind of near Ann Drive,
Mhm.
sort of across, there's that rundown house with the blue tarp on the roof. That's 819, then there's 829, and then 841. So 841 would take the 0.2, 819 would take the 0.7, and then never the twain shall meet, and everybody should be good.
So the plan is to take the gifted property and split it and
Correct.
give it back?
But we will have to go back to the town after any, we have to have new maps made to show the split. And so the assessor would have to put her, mark on it as far as what the tax ramifications would be, because now they're accepting additional property.
Why did you accept the parcel only to have to split it up and stuff?
Well, their taxes owed on it a little shy of $700. So it's either going to end up on that list,
Suspense
that's the
list.
suspense list at some point. But we figured we accept it and split it, and then we are getting tax money back
Not built.
on it. if we make it a conforming lot with 819, it
Right,
becomes.
no, but
it
I'm
becomes a-
saying the gift.
Right, it's a non-conforming lot at this point, as is the one next to it that has the shack on it, so that was probably done whenever back,
It was before zoning.
yeah, so there you go. So if we split it accordingly, like I said, the gentleman to the right would have his proper setback. And then the other parcel part would, give that person a conforming lot of 1.5. So, and then you would get the taxes from, and the owner of that property that would get an acre and a half, if they don't want to knock that shack or whatever it is on there down and build their own house, they now potentially have a conforming lot that they can sell. And you would get the tax benefit from that. Instead of it sitting there having non-paid taxes and so. Trying to sort of do a benefit to the town at the end of the day. So, and that's pretty much what I had at this point.
Okay.
You don't think,
Are we done? Oh, no,
Number seven.
control issues.
As far as the first part is concerned, so far, everything that we have seen with Park and Rec, the new software program is working tremendously well for them. It will roll out for all programs beginning July 1st. Right now, it is just doing the summer camp. The joys and the advantages with this program is we can monitor and track all payments so that we remain whole for the services rendered. So it will be much easier and simpler for Park and Rec to know if everyone has paid for every program that the children have been signed up for, which is something that has been a labor-intensive process for them for the last 2 years. So it streamline everything for them. And they are very excited about where this can take the entire department. And the other item on is an HR analysis. We are in the process of reviewing all job descriptions and all personnel responsibilities, as in where and what does each department need. Sharon briefly touched on it earlier with the grants. One area that we have already identified a deficiency in is in social services. Right now, we know that the senior needs are being addressed, but not all. The best, it's a derogatory term, but it's the best term used, all marginalized individuals. So there are a lot of programs that we want, a lot of things that we want to look at and look into. We do have relationships with Woodbridge Youth Services and the Teen Center. Bethany students are allowed to participate. We have had some individuals ask, why is there not more for our, for the kids? Why are we not promoting things like that? And right now, the answer I'm getting from Robin is, I do not, as the director of human services, I don't have enough hours to get to all of it. I can take care of the seniors, but I don't have enough hours to address everything else. So that's something that may be coming down the pike, where we may have to reimagine that. We may have to add staffing to accommodate some of those needs there. We've also identified the fact that in the tax office and the assessor's office, we advertise for like assistants or clerks. In talking with the department heads, they've identified that the second person in those offices needs to be very clerical in nature. So we are going to be looking to fill the vacancy that we have right now with a more clerically oriented person. We are not going to be necessarily looking for an assistant tax collector, but a tax clerk. We're hoping to attract a better candidate as a with the job being looked at as clerical in nature, as opposed to requiring all kinds of certification. Because based on the pay scale that we can offer, it fits a clerical natured position. So those are that's just two areas right now that we've identified, but we are going through every department and coming up with new job descriptions, so we will have them. Some of them have been updated, others are in the process, but we are working on that. That is something that Jen has taken on very seriously since she has her HR certification.
Yeah, good. It's a good progress.
And nothing,
Good job.
anything else? Anyone? Motion?
I'll move that we adjourn.
Thank you. We have a second?
Second.
Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Right, so this meeting is adjourned at 7:37 and a half.